Hey guys, my name's Oscar King, and here to show my POV from round one of the Motorsport Australia OFI Cup at Australia. Um, it's been a while since we've had an OFI event, at least one that I've taken part in. Last race I think was Las Vegas last December on F124. Good riddance to that game. Thankfully, it is no longer. So here we are on F125. Now in an officially sanctioned competition by Motorsport Australia, which I'm really excited to be part of. And this is my Q1 lap, first lap of the season. Want to get off to a good start, just get through to Q2. Um, Projected cutoff was basically of any valid lap, at least for the guys at the top end. So I just needed to put a lap on the board here, and this is that. As you can see, I'm taking it super safe. Of track limits, just trying not to get blown up by a curb and sent off the track. So um, yeah, no, it's been a lot of progression personally for me since the last OFI. Obviously, I've become an engineer at Far Esports, um, and yeah, the progression on this game has been great. Unfortunately, not a lot of quality work has been done, as you can imagine. But yeah, I've still put in a lot of hours on the driving side, and as you can see, we got through to Q2 here, and this is our first Q2 run. We've got a used run on the board. Um, so yeah, we're just hoping to put a good season together. If we can go and contest the top guys in the region, then that's great. But yeah, we'll see how we go. See if we can nick a couple of wins, a few podiums, maybe a pole if we if we put a lap together. But that might be pushing it. So yeah, here we are, heading into sector two of this Q2 lap. A little bit squirrely on the turn six exit there. Was struggling a little bit there in practice. I've always found it quite a hard corner to spot the apex, keep the line really precise, not hit the grass on the inside. Um, but yeah, again, Q2 shouldn't be too hard. We're on for a half decent lap here. Um, the split isn't really shattering any records, but it's going to be enough to get through. Um, and yeah, uh, luckily the split was slightly good enough that even even this quite poor last sector with a yeah, an interesting little turn 13 there will be enough to see us through as well. So yeah, we've saved sets of tires for Q3, and in preparation, I knew that was going to be critical. Um, yeah, as you can see there, the cutoff was actually a little bit better than initially expected after the Q1 and the used runs. Actually, my used run wouldn't have been enough when I thought it probably would have been. So um, luckily we got that first new tire run in, and then yeah, we have three sets of tires for Q3, so we went out straight away, and then we immediately invalidate. So we've got two runs left um, in this Q3 session. Really need to get a banker on the board 'cause it's so easy to invalidate here. And so that was fairly committed in turn one. Um, and yeah, we're probably pretty safe now if we don't make a massive mistake until turn 9 and 10, in which case we're kind of hoping for some luck from the code. He's got a bit wide in turn 4 there. We've got the car on the left just trying to get out of our way, distract us a little bit. Um, but yeah, that's a 9.8 first. It's pretty poor all things considered, but if it's in the 25s, at least for me, it's good enough to at least get something on the board. Um, and now here we go. We're gonna fling the car into 9 and 10. I hope the cab doesn't hit us. Yeah, we've taken that really safe. No cut at all in T10. That's probably a tenth and a half lost in pure pace, to be honest. But yeah, again, I thought it was just going to be so critical to get a banker on the board here. There's probably not many guys that are going to match just any valid lap, to be honest. So just got to get something on the board. And again, yeah, scrubbing the fronts in turn 13 a little bit too much, just pushing the car on a bit. So it's not our best lap, but it's still a 6-6. So yeah, hardly fighting for pole. Um, but yeah, it's a valid lap that we can look to build on our last run in Q3 here, and it really gives us the license to kind of give this lap the beans and yeah, see what happens. So yeah, we're coming onto the lap here, um, and as you'll see, I immediately fly off the track, which you can see by my face, I'm a little bit disheartened by that. But that's okay. We just kind of got to accept it. Somehow that was enough for P2. So we are starting on the front row. Um, you know, starting where we left off in the OFI. Trying to compete for the win here. And so this is the start of the race. We're straight into the race here. We're starting on the mediums. As you can see, most other cars were starting on the mediums, but then Potato and P3 started on the hards. Um, for some reason, I have since deliberated with him about that decision. um, but I digress. Here's lap one. So we covered off position to turn one fairly well. Riley made up a position on Potato, and into that turn three, there was contact behind, and I thought that cars might be spun around, but as at least with the top of the pack, it was kind of status quo. And so now we just got to settle in, manage the tires. Um, Obviously, yeah, as P2 in the train, we're not really looking to do anything special. We just happy to save tire, chill behind Greg here, um, and see ourselves all the way to the first pit stops. Um, and yeah, as you can see, because there was a couple of hard tire runners in the top, 10 or 12 cars, and so they're fallen back naturally, and so we'll have to look out for them deeper in the race. Obviously, this track has quite high track position value, so you know it's going to be pretty tough for them to make up the positions later on, but you never know. And so as we move to lap four, we're really threatening to break from the mid pack here, as a group of three up front, which is great for my race. Like all that does is mean that less people are you know fighting for the podium and the win. Um, so I'm more than happy to just kind of keep pushing and allow that break to form, and then it just becomes a battle in the top three for the win. So yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise in hindsight for that to have occurred kind of so quickly in the stint. I'm really not sure what's gone on back there, um, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else for me to do other than just continue with the plan now and you know uh, save tire in my position, um, ensure that the pace of this train is good enough, and as we move on to lap 11, that gap has really grew um, to the mid pack in the second train. So we're starting to look at pit laps now, because the train is separated. There's a lot less kind of equity in an undercut. Um, and so yeah, we elect to stay out here, and all top three cars do elect to stay out here on lap 11, which you know conventionally is fairly long for Australia, but for this kind of a race, when you got a little bit of field spread, it's pretty natural. So both cars behind in Marcus and Jack in the second train pit, and yeah, they'll be going on a fresh set of hards, and they'll be making up a lot of time on an undercut as expected. Um, and so yeah, we're gonna have to cover them off. It's really um, not a play to keep going longer here. We're not going to be able to form enough delta later on. It's just we're just going to pit from this position. So um, yeah, we're kind of trying to get as closer to the back of Greg as we can for the entry, um, to lose as little time as possible. So obviously, the OFI is it's a longer series this year. Last year it was 6 races. This year it's 10. Um, and it's back to back, except for one break week in the middle of the series, all the way to mid-December. So it's going to be a really big year for OFI racing. Obviously, I've got a few other racing commitments, um, related to my engineering work. So as we come into the pits here, so balancing kind of the preparation for this race and future races is going to be a little interesting. But hopefully we can continue to compete as we go forward. You'll have noticed if you're a you know a fan of F1 sim racing from Oceania, you'll know that Campbell Adams, um, a really strong talent from the region, wasn't in this race, but he's coming back for future races, and he'll definitely be contesting for the championship as well. So Yeah, we've pitted, and as we move on here, Marcus actually was able to do a really large undercut on lap 11 and get into the DRS of this top train. So, the pack has kind of been pushed together a little bit. I think he kind of separated himself as well um, from the guys behind it. So he's kind of joined like a top four train here, which does add a little bit of complexity in our position. It's not really that big of a deal because as long as we have DRS, we'll be fine. But there's a car yet to pit here. We have to just get through, which we do. Luckily, we kind of catch it at the right time that we don't lose the DRS because of it, which is really critical, of course. Um, and Riley behind and Marcus is going to have to work their way through that car as well and hopefully not lose too much time. But obviously, if they lose any time, they're just going to push and make the DRS. They have to if they want to make any more progress in the race. Yeah, it's about this time where like the picture of the race is starting to form. Um, it's really clear kind of how this is going to play out, and you're just trying to construct a plan for how you in your position can maximize the result. So at this point, I could obviously see that Greg was very quick, probably a little bit quicker than me. Um, and so it's just about like what can I do to try and position myself to get the best result. Became clear to me at some point around this time that if I was going to win the race, I'd have to go and make an overtake quite soon. It was not really just going to happen, on the last lap. Um, and so as we move on here, actually on lap 17, we've actually broken Marcus, and that was a surprise as well. I don't think he got caught up with the lap car like too badly. Maybe he was low on battery. Obviously, he had that one lap worst tire delta to the top three here. So we've kind of separated from him. We're back to status quo in terms of um, uh, just from the first stint, the top three separating themselves from the pack, and um, we're on lap 25 here, 4 laps to go at the line, and I actually decided now's the time to kind of make a push and try and see if we can go and win the race. If I just stay behind, Greg's not gonna like just let me overtake. I'm gonna have to surprise him. So I push the battery and I overtake here. Um, and now's the opportunity to try and put some pressure on and just see if we can induce a mistake. Um, Obviously, the dirty air being how it is this game, me having sit behind Greg's diffuser for 25 laps, there's a little bit of a balance change. So as you can see, turn 10 was, turn 11 was a little bit questionable there, but yeah, we're just trying to form a gap. Obviously, he's got a balance change to deal with as well, um, which is a little bit of a surprise for a couple of corners. So if we can, form a little bit of a gap, put some pressure on him, battery in terms of battery usage, then there's a chance that we can kind of settle in and hold this position until the last lap, and then anything happens. Um, but as you can see, we haven't exactly gained enough of a gap, much time, really to have justified what we've done. Um, and we've also kind of invested a lot of battery into it as well. Um, so it's kind of touch and go whether we're going to be able to, even keep, not just keep the net P2, but also like Riley's a threat as well because as third man in the train, he'll have been saving all of his tire, all of his battery um, for this last couple of laps here. So we're going into turn 9, and we simply just don't have the battery to defend. You know, Greg was able to repass us immediately, and now we're under threat from Riley. And obviously the detection point is in turn 6, so we don't have DRS, and Riley does, and he just flies around the outside, and we kind of positioned our car poorly there. We really could have done like a bit better in hindsight, better with just general race management to kind of defend that. But I didn't want to get involved in an incident. P2 to P3 is only 3 points, so it's not the end of the world. And ultimately, that's all you could do for this race. Um, so yeah, it's P3 in the first race of the season. I was happy with the result. You know, decent quali, uh, decent enough even. Like yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise that that time was good enough for where it was. But and then yeah, we brought it home in the race. It was a pretty boring race, unfortunately for the viewers. But yeah, it's a strong start of the championship, and here's the championship standings after the first round. Um, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video at Qatar.